What's going on here? Well, actually, we're going to give this Naphthol Red a try over here. I don't know exactly, but this is the one way I maybe get the chance to see, does it have any genuine staining properties of its own? I kind of doubt it, but we'll see what happens. Got a couple of reference pictures down here. Oh, the other thing is, too, it could be a little bit of exercise in cooler reds versus warmer reds. Hey there, Landrast. So Landrast, well, here's the figure we were talking about last night, right? I think we're going to give that Naphthol Red a try, and only one way to see if it really has any staining properties, right, right there, Landrast. Mess around with maybe a little more indigo in here. Let's just pop some of that in here, really make that deep. It's not quite a violet or anything like that. I want to see what happens again with this Naphthol Red, see what we can do with that. A little bit more of it here. No, I'm not him. The other thing you could even do is just, you got miniatures on a sprue, right? Just pieces on a sprue that you know you're not going to use. What the heck, right? Just paint those. Just paint them on the sprue even. I mean, if you're just using the Badger brush-on primer, well, you can brush it right there onto the, right onto the stuff on the sprue and just paint a couple of test things. Keep it as simple as possible. No need to overdo it on the first time. I just always relate back to art school. When in watercolor class, we were only allowed to have one color. Literally, it was Van Dyke Brown. That was our one and only color we were allowed to use for several months because they didn't want us to be struggling with how the watercolors worked, plus all the different color theory stuff. And ultimately, that worked out very well. It worked out pretty good for us. So I think we're all caught up there. I think we're all caught up. So this is that another one of those miniatures from Lethal Shadows. I just thought, well, we're getting a late start here. Maybe do something that's, well, here again. This is sort of a compressed value range, you could say, or a color range. Now I just put a little bit of Van Dyke Brown into the mix. That's the Williamsburg Van Dyke Brown, by the way. Now, Goblin, I'll probably stay away from the small infantry figures. Either that, or I would print them much larger, because just having printed some of the Archvillain tiny infantry figs, those would be way too fragile. I mean, just on several levels, those would just be too fragile. The wings and everything. So I would either print those bigger or take some of the bigger guys, right? Hey, Paintwater Small, yay, nice to see ya. Welcome, welcome, how are you doing? I'm gonna go back to the indigo. Yeah, I'll go into some, I know it all looks kind of the same, but believe it or not, there's gonna be a little bit of a different hint there, because we went from Van Dyke Brown, get more towards an indigo here, that really, 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 really dark blue. So yeah, Goblin, everything was all set to go. This was going to be a big week of reworking the filming area, new desk, new cameras, the whole shoot match. That's what was supposed to be happening last week. And then it was supposed to be culminated with the brand new Lord of the Rings release with all the Defense of the North stuff. That's why we have this now, because, yeah, that stuff happened. So that's why we got that going on. All right, I think now we have all of that area covered. Doesn't look like much. Doesn't look like much right now, but what we're going to do, we're going to get our sponges out here. Going to start wiping some of this away, and then we'll see what we got, and then we can come back in. Some of our lighter colors. So sponges. There you go, sponges. And it's appreciated, Goblin. It is, yeah, see, you know, that's got a little bit, that's got some punch. Wouldn't you say, Landress? Hey, Abina, this is the, where the heck is it? This is that Richardson oil. Remember, I think you might have seen the latest tutorial vid on the Patreon page, and I thought I wanted to give that a chance to see, does it have any staining properties? And the figure that, one of the figures you saw me doing last night, I did give it a shot to see what would happen. And I mean there's more of that staying behind than I thought there could be. So wow, that's check this out. Look at this. That's pretty wild, huh? Now, of course, there's some other stuff in there. There's a little bit of Van Dyke Brown in some areas, others a little bit of indigo, but still, that ain't too shabby, is it, for a red? And it's a red that's got a little bit of opacity to it, so I think maybe we discovered something. So thanks for the uh, so Goblin might still because of course I have to refamiliarize myself with the release. That all came out just as all this happened here, so yeah, I might point out some to you and say, hey, could you maybe print those out? Some of the bigger stuff, some of the well, I think there's well, you know the release way better than I do now. All I ever got to see was these guys. I think there's bigger versions of these, right? I don't think I'm wrong in thinking there's a bigger version of those guys, right? Hey, Megan. So Megan, thanks again for that. On a scale of 1 to 10, as far as kind of setting things maybe a little bit back on kilter, that was about a 47. So that really did, especially coming kind of later in the day, right? So instead of trying to somehow go to sleep with all the crazy stuff, I think she'll definitely have a better chance of getting sleep, right? Thank you so much. And Sarge, thank you, Sarge. Little Shamrock Shake here. We could certainly use some shamrocks. Thanks, Sarge. Appreciate that. So Goblin, actually, some of the bigger ones, right? Because I would have a hard time printing those anyway, because it would be several build plates on the frozen, and there's not going to be any time to set up the Mono X anytime soon. That is also that's pushed back kind of indefinitely. So as we welcome in Thranuel, that might not be a horrible thing, is to maybe be able to get our paws on some of the bigger stuff, because who knows? I mean, it doesn't have to be the most gigantic thing, right? And hey, Thranuel, how are you doing? And let's see. Yeah, I was wondering about that, Bina. That was my next question. Is it going to be like oh gosh, what were they? The Marion Street fluorescents? Yeah, just like how these guys don't ship things out. Silly Moss, how you doing? So Bina, one thing I might do is I want to see some of those scale 75 colors, like the vermilion. I want to see, I'll maybe try it in this method too, see if it actually might have a little bit of staining properties to it. I don't know. But as you can see, we got ourselves a nice little bit of value set there. That's not too shabby, is it? Now let's see what we want to do as far as getting into some lighter stuff here. And I'm just going to try and get some of this junk off my finger here. Let me just there, get some water onto that. Oh, no problem, Megan. It was really, really huge. And of course, I mean, one or two things happened to you this last week too, right? I still can't believe after all that, right? All the preparation, all the stuff, that's what ultimately happens. Seriously, right? I mean, just you're trying and trying and trying to kind of get back to 100% and everything else, and then boom, that is how it goes down. It quite literally goes down, right, Megan? I mean, it just went boom. Quite literally went boom on you. So everybody wish Megan a better week this week than last week. So Megan also wasn't having the most fantabulous of weeks either. Now I'm gonna get into this here radiant. Actually, oh, this is the radiant red. I haven't used the radiant red yet. Just wanted to see what the heck might happen. Hey, Abakar, nice to see you again. Nice to see you. I hope that maybe your week actually was able to get off to a decent start, perhaps. Yeah, and it does seem like it went off really, really, really well. I mean, so all of the work that you put in, I mean, it did pay off. Just you just didn't get a chance to enjoy any of it, of course. Well, I guess that's kind of how things go for moms in general. Lots and lots of work, but don't necessarily get to see that play out. All right, so I'm just messing around here. I have no idea again what sort of things we might want to do on this. I'm just popping some lighter colors on her to see what the heck happens. Yeah, Megan, let's put it this way. I would not give that a try. I would say, yeah, you're on your own there, 'cause I can only imagine. I can only imagine how that would go down, right? Just oh my goodness. You could just hear muscles and everything popping and ripping and all kinds of terrible things. I'll bet you that's what would happen to me. You know what? I'm just gonna go with a little bit of that Indian yellow work its way in there. So Silly Moss, nice to see you again. Nice to see you. So actually, yeah, Goblin, I'll try and take a peek at what they've actually got in the May release, because I never actually got a chance to really see much of it. All they showed me were the Griffins, and that's it, and nothing else. Well, at first they weren't going to show me the Griffins. They said, so pick something that you want to paint. And I said, well, it might be easier if I actually saw what they were. So that's a bit of a minor detail right there. You know, maybe I'll get a little bit of the yellow into there, just a smidge, right? Silly Moss, I'm pretty sure that's kind of how it is. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I would not argue with that one bit. All right, Landrast. Well, I hope that it's not too crowded at the airport. You can get in there and get back out and get M-Tellies back home. Well, geez, Megan, I'm glad that they were able to get you some flowers from the outside. I was actually worried that you weren't getting to see any of it because yeah, all of a sudden it's like wow, there's nothing from Megan here. I'm wondering, and then of course then there was the message from Queez saying, yeah, this is the not Megan here because actual Megan is having some stuff going on. Yeah, I'll let that. I'm gonna get this maybe a little later here. So again, right, not doing a whole lot of cleaning with the brush other than just taking a paper towel and kind of squeegeeing that out of there. Hey, Lethal Shadows, how you doing? Oh, thanks, Goblin. Yeah, I won't be able to look at that now. It's something if you could maybe shoot me that, and well, I can just go to the Patreon page and look at it. Just with the way things have gone this week, there's been no time, unfortunately, to look at that. So I'll try and give that a check. Oh, no, I'm not him. Thank you so much. No, I'm not him. Complete Defense of the North. Thank you so much. No, I'm not him. And that's perfect timing because I think you saw we painted up our current Easterlings, right? We painted those up. And Armored Wolf, I hope that you got that. Hopefully you got what I sent you. I don't know, about 4 or 5 or so in the afternoon, I think it was. But thank you so much. No, I'm not him. Appreciate that. That's well, that's really cool. So that is now completed, and that means we'll be able to snag our Easterlings. Was it the Black Dragons for painting on stream for sure, and then to do kind of hardcore tutorial videos on the Dragon Emperor, because you got what, the 6 guys on the palanquin, and then you've got the Dragon King himself. So we'll see how that's going to play out. Hey, Nippon, how you doing? Now, actually, Megan, I'm glad that it kind of, I don't know, extended into the next day a little bit, right? So that you, again, had a chance to maybe enjoy just a little bit of it, and more than just an observational fashion. So everybody, this is from Lethal Shadows Gaming, printing service, but also in a Lethal Shadows miniature. Now, where is our other one? There she is. There's our other one here. So we painted this one up on stream, was it last week, I think it was? That was very fun. Just a little quickie freehand on there too. And a fantastic printing service. Yeah, Megan, like you were saying, it's that kind that, well, quite literally takes your breath away, right? And that is, it's one thing when it just, oh, it's a bit of a bother, but when you just like, wow, breathing kind of hurts, that's when it's no bueno for sure. Let's see. Yeah, now Megan, I hope that there's not, you don't have to kind of be in some kind of weird uh what do you posture, right, to be able to sleep, because that's what was getting to Kathy, is that the only way she could sleep, given everything that was going on, were just those really weird alien postures for sleeping. So hopefully you won't be stuck with that for too long. Now here we're gonna stick with that naphthol red here. Let me see. So yeah, Lethal Shadow, sorry that I, kind of just saw this and went, oh, it's water instead of, but we're also trying out some new colors, well, a new color here just to see, and we saw that it actually has some staining properties to it. So that was, and it's one of those colors that was in the latest video that you saw on the Patreon page there. Oh, here, let me just shove that down in there to get some paint into that. So thank you so much. No, I'm not him. That's actually a huge relief, because Saturday was supposed to be kind of the culmination of a whole week of getting the new area ready, and all the generosity of folks, getting things like the cameras and desk and more of these cutting boards, everything. And the kind of the final piece to that puzzle was going to be the big Saturday release of probably the biggest GW release, at least for me, in years, many years. Okay, well, yeah, I can. Hopefully, Megan, the cat kind of can see that. Well, you know what? Maybe I have to be a little less of that cat and be the other kind of cat now. So hopefully, that's kind of playing out as well. There we go. So we're gonna start maybe working on a little bit of the Fanchon red, but that's a kind of a nice little deep red. We're gonna be coming back into here with some pin line washes, I think, too, to darken that stuff down. Okay, what do we want to do here? What do we want to do? I'm just gonna sneak this back over here just to make sure that we get some coverage in these areas. And it doesn't mean that we can't come back with even lighter reds here, or come back with some darks. We're just kind of feeling our way through this, right? Just here, do we want to throw a little bit more of our red even into some of the cloth surfaces? What's going on over here? You know, it might just do that here. Red goes somewhere, it must go everywhere. And then I sort of like the idea of the lighter skin tone. We'll go with that, but I think we're also going to throw some red up in here. Maybe not a very bright, not as intense as this, right? So yeah, Megan, I don't often get a chance to do, well, the stuff like this. So this could be interesting. Test out a new red, see if it actually can do a little bit of staining, which it does. It seems like it can. It sort of looked that way, right? I think it did to Landrast as well. Just make sure that there we go. Now you can see, look at all that dark color on that. That's all the stuff that was shoved down in there. So you can see the big difference. Oh, and by the way, this is 26 minutes in. 26 minutes in as we welcome in Dark Dan again. Yes, Dark Danigan also contributed to the defense in the north. I know Crazy Wolf did as well, and Grey Wolf did. So thanks to everybody that completed this right here. That is huge. And no, I'm not him. I really appreciate that. That is going to be very, very big. Now I'm just, I'm hoping that won't be too long before that stuff gets in, and then we can actually, well, start painting it up on stream, because painting stuff up on stream, right? So Sarge, I hope that things are going okay there. I know that you've got, oh, do I want to go with white here? Maybe we go with, maybe we do that. White's getting white here, and yeah, let's see if we can play with something like that. Yeah, Megan, it's interesting the intensity of this red. I don't really get a chance to do that kind of intense overall red very often, so kind of enjoyable actually. Kind of getting a kick out of doing that. Here, let's get a little bit of the radiant violet in there, and let's go with some lighter here and see how that plays out. Let's throw some of that over here too, and again, that is the, was it Naphthol red? Yeah, Naphthol red. Thank you so much, Lich. I appreciate that. He says, "Oh my gosh, have you seen Galadriel around here?" And he was like, "Oh, well, is that the lady with the big scary green outfit?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He's like, "You know what? I'm kind of busy doing blood stuff here." He's like, "Wait, what?" I think they're just getting too dangerous in Middle Earth for me, man. This Maya's headed out of here. Oh, there goes Gandalf. There he is. He gone. He is all gone. All right. Oops, wait. More hair over here. I think we got this up here, so we'll go with, we'll leave it at that for right now. Let's see what we can start to mess around with here on the face. Let's get a bit of a smaller brush. I think we're gonna do a little bit of blending here, because, yeah, I can. I think if I want to zoom in at all, I'm going to have to physically move the camera, so we may not be zooming in too much. Yeah, so here again, there's all the nifty flesh tone there already. Didn't have to do anything, did I? All I had to do was just take this and just kind of push some of those colors around, and we got all the free blending. That's why we don't need triads and all that other kind of stuff, because it just kind of happens by itself, doesn't it? Yeah, Megan, I don't know, it wouldn't... I guess what I'm trying to say is, what's the likelihood that you would hear some of like a teenage kid or a kid just say like, "Are you doing your homework?" or something like that, and or you know, "What are you doing?" And the kid would just say, "I'm just doing blood stuff." That I could just somehow, I could imagine that not being the most unusual response to get from a kid there. So now I'll leave it to you to confirm or deny that. And again, this is from Lethal Shadows Gaming right here. Yeah, I might, I also want to get some different colors in our golds there, but let's do that pin line stuff that we were talking about, and that might just take the form of Indian yellow. Let me just get a little bit of thinner over the top of that. Egyptian violet. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of that too. Now some Egyptian violet. And let's have all three of these combined together to make one heck of an amber color. Maybe a little more thinner here. Something like that. Let's see how this is going to work. Let's do this. And not everywhere, just a couple of select spots here. And then we have to be patient. We do not want to be hasty little hobbits, right? Yeah, Megan, why is that not a surprise to me? Why is that not a surprise? All right, let's start to get this house about a little bit darker now. Well, darker. Got some more of the Egyptian violet in there. You know what? We might go a little different direction here. We might go violet and blue together here. Violet and blue. Now, Thranule, sorry that the little gnomes are banging the drums there. Yeah, boy, yeah. Didn't really go do I was at day camp. I would be at day camp all day long, but during the summer, mostly spent, that was with the Boy Scouts doing a camping thing, so there wasn't, there, that was a different kind of attempted homicide, pretty much on every camp out. Pretty much, if you weren't trying to eliminate your fellow scouts, you were definitely doing something wrong. So again, we're just trying to get a couple little darks in here. Also a little modification on some of the color. I realize it's going to look all kinds of shiny right now, but since it is just a pin line, well, we're going to lose that shiny pretty darn quick. Because again, we got other areas that we can work on for sure. All right, somehow, okay, we didn't lose track of that. Or maybe we did, I don't know. Yeah, Megan, that doesn't sound like much fun, for sure. Kind of makes a trip to the park almost a little bit more, yeah, it's not exactly a fun trip. It's more like a anxious type thing. Let me do some darker red for the lips there, of course. And that also right up to the edge of the skin here. Okay, that's a little better. Lethal Shadows, you remember the Wapelius spell brush that I did on the Streamiversary back in April? And I was showing the difference between the acrylic painted one and the oil painted one. You saw the difference, right? I mean, it was not a minor difference. It was a massive difference. And it was super, you could just see it plain as day, right? That is the difference. It's astonishing how different that is. And again, thanks to all the folks that contributed to the Defense of the North Fund. So now we can invest fully into the miniatures there. Now I'll look and see if there's any of the other ones that are not Easterlings, like the bear and the Bjornings and all that kind of stuff. I think we have options for those already here. I don't think those are exactly we don't need to be using resources on those. Some of the Dale stuff. Oh, actually the Armored Wolf, the basically what looked like two Galadrim heroes that you pointed out. Those are the ones that could, well, make for some either good TMM or non-metallic tutorials or sessions. So see, now we're starting to bring out the face there. Yeah, Lethal Shadows. Normally I just do that myself, but there was no time, unfortunately. There's yeah, normally I like to have the clear backdrops, right, with the as a PNG. But I did not get a chance to do that for myself. I also like to have that little bit of shading on it, right, because it helps to bring it out more from the backdrop. Unfortunately, just the way things were, didn't get a chance to do it. I apologize about that because it really does stand out very nicely when you have that. Now, Megan, I was just trying to think, of course, all of those crazy, what the fire slayers, or fry slayers, that's it. Not we call them fry slayers here. It's too bad those don't have some red on them for you. That would be nice. Well, any kind of variety, I suppose, would be nice, wouldn't it, Megan? You would take any variety at all at this point? Man, Lethal Shadows, actually, in some ways, I thought I'd already done that. I thought I already made that version of the logo, but somehow didn't have that. So you can see we're starting to come back in after that, the pin line wash, right? Starting to come back in with some of the lighter areas here. Let's see what we can do here with that skin. Now, the pin line wash that we did still pretty fresh, so we can only do so much with that. And we'll let's get over to this area here. Just looking to pick out some things like the hair as well. And we'll do some more. Here. A couple more. I don't know. I gotta figure out, what do we want to necessarily do with the eyes? Do we want any kind of a glow with them, or just make them more your typical thing that you might see? Let's go with this first. Let's just have them with some kind of light in there. Now, it could be a bit longer for the drying time on this because we are using the Naphtho red from Richardson, and those don't necessarily dry terribly fast. That's kind of the downside. Part of it is, right, they have all that extra linseed oil chucked into them. All right, just trying to, again, a couple of more lights here on the skin. Let's lighten up the cheekbone just a bit here. Lethal Shadows, we're just going to go with what we've got here because I was hoping to actually put additional blood effects onto this. So the purple glow, not really going to do much with this much red. You need an opposing color. So here, we've got the... Here we ought to do the magenta because we had that darker purple there. If we put a glow on this right here, it unfortunately, it would... it's a little too much, a little too many spices in the soup mix right there. And again, I want to go back over the top of this. Actually, you should check out, I think we actually did a YouTube video of, where the heck are they? Where are they? Here we go. So if you look at if you check out the videos where we did the blood effects on these, that's what I want to do with this after it dries. And unfortunately, if there's a glow on there, I won't be able to do that kind of stuff. Now, of course, there's no reason. That's the beauty of 3D printing, right, Lethal Shadows? That you say, well, all right, I'll print it again, and I'll try a whole different color scheme on it. That's the other thing I mean, there's many things I love about 3D printing. That's one of the key ones, is that it does offer up the, you could paint up a whole different army, right? The same figures, give them a whole different color scheme, just via the wonders of printing. All right, and now we're going to start getting around to some of these guys on the corners here, for sure. Yeah, that's well, we could try. What I wish I had was some of my actually, hey Megan, that's what does that sound familiar? Right? Wasn't it just one of your last things? You were trying to get a purple glow in the eyes? I'm pretty sure, yeah, you were trying to get a purple glow in the eyes. So that's just that's kind of ironic, Lethal Shadows, because yeah, Megan was just working on a piece not very long ago, and one of the things she was trying to get on there was actually a purple glow in the eyes. So we'll just leave the eyes as open right here, and then if we want to try and do some kind of glow there, but we need to have at least that dark around the eyes for sure, just to make sure that draws your attention to them. Ah, it's still it's still working on her. What about, okay, so just trying to get that face framed as best as we can. Now, let's see if we can do some other types of light besides just our brilliant yellow pale. This actually has a little bit of the violet in it right here. And again, if we have to tone something down, we can always do that too. So here, like where we have the fingers here, the reason I'm painting these in is because the blood effects are going to go over the top of that. So yeah, we want to try and do some really fun blood effects on here. I think that would really enhance the feeling of this. Green, yeah, I'm so tempted. Now we have actually really fooled around with this here. This is again, the Radiant Red. Haven't used it, well, until now. So kind of the first time for everything, trying out that Radiant Red just to see what happens. I really don't know what that just might do, but we're going to find out now as you start to push some of these lights around here. And a little bit here on the chest. What's going on over here? Let's get ourselves a bit of a light edge there, and then I'm going to go with the Fanchon Red up here. Let's see how that works. See how that works here. Try and get a couple of lights here. And pull that red from down here. Pull that red up here. Just a little balance. Get ourselves a little bit of balance. Oh, there we go. So Megan posting a link to said bust in question. Maybe a little bit more red there. Going to change that. That was on the lips there. It just got a little too light, too fast. And here we're going to try and take some of that Fanchon Red and push that around a little bit. So again, what are we? We're 44 minutes in. 44 minutes ago, there was nothing on here. Nothing on here whatsoever. Now here, I don't know how much of the... See, I think I'm gonna maybe stay away from the reds on that part of the clothes there. And maybe go with something that's got more violet in it. I think that might just be the best way to go. I don't know, here we got some of the Egyptian violet there. Let some of that get down into the darks. Just reasons. Same over here, probably. And now I'm going to see what happens when I take that's a Naphtho red and the Radiant Red. Mix these together. I haven't mixed them together at all. It's kind of funny. This is, in some ways, it's almost like that cadmium. No, it's even cadmium red deep is not as intense as this is. So let's see what we got. What have we got here? Interesting. So what I'm looking to do here is have something that's a little bit of a cooler color, than some of the blood stuff, which is, you can see there's a little bit more warmth to that than what we've got here. This is a much cooler color. I guess you could say pushing more towards magenta right here. Pushing a little bit more towards magenta than, say, all your blood stuff. All right, no, I'm not him. Here, let me get you another toast here. Thanks so much for completing that. And Lord Shaper, thank you so much for that follow, too. We'll get you your little Gandalf appearance as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. No, I'm not him. And of course, well, you know, we got plenty of Gandalfs here. He's like, yeah, you know, there's just something about these rings. Is there something like a blood ring or whatever? Because seeing a lot of blood over there, man. Thank you so much for that follow, Lord Shaper. Appreciate it. Ooh, what do we got here? What have we here? I'm gonna try and maybe work a little bit of that same sort of magenta color in just a couple of places there. Maybe even out here. And yeah, sometimes we go a little bit back and forth. Sometimes we're adding something that's a little bit darker. Everything is in context, right? Well, work on a certain area, stop, go somewhere else, see where that takes us. Because here I might go even with more of a violet. As much as that. The radiant red was looking interesting. I think there's going to be something interesting if I do something like this here. Let's see what happens with that. So I just got some of the radiant violet in there. Now that's going to be potentially a little too light. So we're actually going to make ourselves a Megan violet right here and make something that's a little bit of a, almost like a bluish purple. Otherwise sometimes known as blurple. Yes. Blurple is a color that we've certainly used here on a few occasions. Okay, so again, see how that cooler purple there? What's the whole point of that? The whole point of that is to contrast with some of the warmer stuff going on there. Now let me see. Fanchon red. How's this going to go down here? A little Fanchon red. All right, I'm game. Let's take some of this here radiant red, mix it with the Fanchon red, a little bit thinner. Let's see what happens here. Let's start to work on some of the blood effects here, and we're just gonna put some of that in position, and then we'll just move that around with a blending brush. You can see we didn't do any little gentle stair steps or anything like that, right? Nah, no reason for that. Take that lighter color, go bold, get in there, go strong. Like so. So Lethal Shadows, it's a combo platter here. So we haven't tried the Radiant Red yet. And that's what we just mixed in right now. And if you go back and check it out, you know, I was talking about, especially in the latest video, using that Naphthol red and seeing if it has any staining properties to it. And it sort of does, because that's what we did down here. And as I look at it, I was thinking, yeah, you know, that's actually got a little bit of staining property to it, which that's not something that I would expect out of red at all. So very interesting new development. We're always trying new stuff here. As much as I can. You know, there are times where I just can't get my hands on, you know, say new colors to give them a try, or I would like to try them, but they're really expensive, and I don't want people to think like they would have to then also get some really expensive color just because it's what I'm using. That's another reason why we try to replace things like cobalt blue and the cerulean and that sort of stuff. Those are insanely expensive, and for what they do, for the average person, it is most definitely not worth that kind of insane cost. Not by a long shot. So there's times where there's colors that I wouldn't mind using, but then again, people would want to have those themselves, and I just don't want folks to have to break the bank trying to kind of match what we have here. Yeah, I might use them on just my own personal stuff because maybe it just makes something go faster, more efficiently, or something like that. Or there's a little final difference in the color, maybe than the cheaper alternative. And it happens quick, right? So we're starting to our blood effect's starting to rise up. We'll also probably get some more darks. But then when we hit this with some of the blood effects, that's another reason why I don't want to. I only going to do so much with the paint here. I wish I had the Daughters of Sekhmet around. Unfortunately, we sold those off. That was back in December, when the other November actually, when the other looniness was going on. AD, I saw that you were streaming. Was Twitch being a beast there? Because I saw that you were streaming. And everybody, please give AD Creations a follow there, because AD Creations also does streaming. So again, everybody, please give AD Creations that follow. AD, I hope that your stream went well. Again, today was a bit of a crazy day, to say the least. Not the most fun times today. So we didn't have a chance to stream any earlier than now. Again, I really look forward to at least getting back to some of the more regular stream times. And again, don't be surprised if there might be more streams that are shorter instead of those longer duration ones, at least for the time being. Now, gotta be super aware right here. This versus this. We want warm here. We want that to be cool. Let's see what happens when we do this. See that now the radiant red on its own, it's kind of cooling this down, turning it more towards the magenta. I don't really want to have to throw, say, Indian yellow into the mix. But if I want to go any further with the light on this, I might have to just make sure that a little bit of Indian yellow works its way in there. Either that, or we come in back. Well, I think we'll just come back in there with more cool colors too. Okay. Well, AD, sorry about the sound stuff. It's crazy, right? And I'm sure you didn't do anything different. It's the same stuff. Everything's the same, and yet it doesn't want to behave, right? I'm telling you, is this it will drive you absolutely bonkers. I don't know how many times, not touching anything, everything's the same, and yet you get a massively different result, and it's just, I didn't do anything. How can it be so different when I didn't do anything different? No difference in the settings, no nothing. So I hope that does not, hope that's all solved and you don't have to deal with that as you get back into your stream. So Lethal Shadow, again, that's, check out that latest color theory video. This is the Richardson oils. We've done a few videos with the Richardson oils. We did a Dark Sword video, and I think we did a color theory video with them as well. And it's not going to be an expensive paint because the Richardsons, they're supposed to be more, shall we say, economical. They're supposed to be like a more affordable version of Williamsburg. At least that's kind of how they sort of brand themselves. Is it like Williamsburg? Well, there's some intensity to the colors, no doubt about that. But there's a lot of the downside is there's an awful lot of the linseed oil in there, and some have a lot of safflower oil, which again means they're going to be shiny while you're painting them, which for the average person, well, what the heck does that matter? You're not trying to film it or stream it, so not an issue there for just regular folks. All right, Megan, you have a good night. Have a good night. I just want to say thank you so much for that. That really, I mean, that was a big, big, big help. Now, okay, that radiant yellow is dead, so we're going to put some more. Or is this radiant lemon? Try the radiant lemon here. Also going to see if that might help us to lighten this up, but not let it become too magenta. And I hope you feel that much stronger, that much better, Megan, of course. So you take care, and thanks again for kind of helping to right the ship. That was huge. That was monumental. I mean, there was like a physical change. It wasn't just a kind of a change in demeanor. I mean, it was just like that there was a physical change. So that's much appreciated. And well, here, let's get a couple more lights in there. Yeah, like so. Do some more here. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to play around some more with this Naphthol red. I've got well, plenty more elves, right, of that same kind of color scheme we've been doing. And yeah, maybe some other things we can try with. So let's say we're trying to get a couple little lights on here, but what's the key? We got to make sure those are warmer than what's going on back there. Also getting into the scale-y stuff around here too. But I need to kind of take a look at this, the blood effects here, and just say how light are we going to go with this stuff. And again, this is from Lethal Shadows Gaming. Go back and check out the VOD of this. And Lethal Shadows Gaming can put a link in the chat to their printing service. This is really fantastic. Obviously, a kind of an opposite little color scheme, right? Lots of cool colors here. And there was still some warmer stuff. So even the blues, right? Phthalo green, technically a warmer bluish color because it's got more yellow in it. Here, what are we trying to do here? Get more yellow in that red. Over here in some of these, trying to get more of the purple. Again, that's that key critical contrast that we're looking for. This feature just a little bit more of a radiant lemon in there. Just again to warm this up as we can. And then trying to remember we've got the blood effects that are going to go in there that'll really deepen that up. But Lethal Shadows, I really, check out especially the Daughters of Sekhmet there and see what the kind of neat things the blood effects can do, because they're semi-translucent, right? So I can paint this red, right, and try and put all the depth I want in there, but having the actual blood effect that's semi-translucent, there is something extra special about that. And it just it really adds an extra level of the convincing. So yeah, we'll definitely have to give that a try on this. And I think that's something that we can do as a little bit of a YouTube video. So that way you got yourself a nice little public access video too. And there, everybody please check out the link to Lethal Shadows Gaming. Now, not all of us have 3D printers. Not all of us maybe have a large format printer. So I know some folks, they try to look around on Etsy for printing entities, and you never quite know what you're going to get. Well, the Lethal Shadow, they have a very strong notion of quality control. They don't just crank out the prints and get them out the door as fast as possible. That's what an awful lot do. But that's not quite how Lethal Shadows does it. They do it a little bit different. And they are always willing. Let's say there's something you don't see. There you say, oh man, they don't have that line. They'll try to work and see if they can't provide that. So just because it's not there on the site doesn't mean that you could never get it printed. And see again, just a little bit of that. I don't want to go too far. If I go too far, well, I can always just knock that right back down again. Be easy enough. So we'll just go with this now. All right, let's stop there. Let's move around to some other areas. I think I'm going to go back to some of this, right? Because we got some of the lights there. Well, now that I got me some of this here Radiant Lemon, let's see what we can mess around with that a little bit, see what happens. So Thranduil, there's never any proportions to anything because it's always going to depend on the miniature and stuff. I don't really do too much of that as a pre-glaze. Believe it or not, Thranduil, that tends to be sort of a post pre-glaze. So actually, Thranduil, we just did it here. We took the Indian yellow and, we mixed it with the Egyptian violet because we went in right with our sort of lighter dry brushy thing, right? Then we did those pin line washes. Now we sort of did that here on this guy, but where's our lizard men? This is where we were really doing that kind of stuff. So in all of these areas, that's where we were doing it sort of after we did pre-glaze, wipe it away, throw the lighter stuff on. Then we went in and we did a bit of a kind of a post pre-glaze, right, with the Indian yellow mixed with the Egyptian violet. And now here's another example of red. This is, again, our latest tutorial video right now. You can see there's two distinct color temperatures here. That one's warmer, that one's cooler. So the Fanchon Red, the Williamsburg Fanchon Red warmer, this is the Naphthol. That, well, mostly I've seen it called Naphthol Crimson, which makes sense why this is cooler than this, right? So this is more of a cadmium red. That's why we use it as sort of a cadmium red substitute. So Thranduil, again, that's just something I would give it some, even on some spare bits, right? Instead of actually going directly to a miniature. That's not something, again, I don't do proportions anyway. I just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe it's halvesies, maybe it's 3/4 or something like that. Now there is a certain point, Thranduil, where the Indian yellow kind of takes over, and it just makes it more brown. So that's something that you want to be aware of. Too much of the Indian yellow is essentially just going to turn it into an amber. And if you're looking at any purple in there, that the Indian yellow would overpower that. Because Indian yellow, that's a pretty darn spicy color. That's a super stainer, just in the same way that Egyptian violet is. And thank you so much, Armored Wolf, for posting the link to the Patreon page. Appreciate that. Now, my latest Dark Sword video, I do apologize that I haven't had a chance to get that up. I thought maybe today I could finish the filming of that, but there was a lot of extra chaos today, and that pretty much wiped out 100% of the day. There was no time for anything. So we'll try and, well, I don't think it's going to happen after the stream. I might try. But yeah, just that last little segment of the Dark Sword video that I have to film. And then we'll also try to get it edited and stuff. So I was actually thinking of making a little bit of a announcement on the Patreon page just so people know that there might be some very weird things happening with the posting schedule of the videos this month. And yeah, Thranduil, my brain is having a hard time remembering anything other than, well, what happened earlier today, unfortunately. So there hadn't been a whole lot of sleep at all. And oh boy, there wasn't any last night, that's for sure. So again, apologize if I'm spacing on something, or if I even just missed something in the chat. So always feel free to write something again if I miss something. There, starting to think about some lights in here too. There we go. And I'm gonna keep going with the lights in the hair. Might still try to actually throw potentially even a little bit more of a bluish color or something in the hair to create a little more separation instead of all just say a violet type color. So AD, I think I ended the stream at about 3:40 something because, well, Kathy actually woke up and we were trying to keep her company in the stream as she was trying to get back to sleep again. And then I didn't get to sleep myself until about 4:40 in the morning, and then the alarm went off at 7:45. So that was interesting in a way that is not super fun, especially given that's kind of how things have gone for the last 9 days or so, something like that. No problem with Thranduil, but yeah, Thranduil, that it doesn't take much of that Indian yellow to just completely overpower your Egyptian violet. As strong as Egyptian violet is, Indian yellow is pretty darn strong too. So you'll want to you can always just start out right with a little bit of the Indian yellow into the violet. Just do it in one little area. You could even just do it some tests again on some stuff on a sprue, maybe some alternate heads or arms or weapons that you're not going to use. Let me see what I can use here as a little... I think I'm going to just use this as a tiny little blending brush here. Hey, Abacar, I'll show you in just a second. It's pretty darn simple. It's a piece of cardboard. That's all it is, just a piece of cardboard. It's just clipped to it with a couple of clips. So, and I just happened to actually cut some more today. So there's our parchment paper, and underneath that is just a piece of cardboard. That's all it is, because that way when I'm done, I can peel that off, right? Peel off the parchment paper and then just toss that in the garbage. Now, I do suggest that you get yourself a decent parchment paper, and I also, just for simple aggravation, get yourself the flat parchment paper, because guess what? It'll stay flat. Otherwise, it's going to be curling up on you. It's going to drive you bonkers. So yeah, get the flat stuff, and believe it or not, it also works really, really well for baking too. So I kind of use it. I'll use a bunch of sheets for the oils, and then I'll also have some sheets saved for also baking. And let's fill in some of our little skelly friends' eye sockets here, because all we did was just get the pre-glaze in there. Right, we're going to darken those down a bit more here. Yeah, here we go. We'll do some more over here. And now these guys up here, I'm going to go back to our red. That's the Naphthol with a little bit of that Van Dyke brown in it. Let's see what we can do here on our headdress, because that might just be fun. And then we'll have to come back in with actually Thranduil. What we might be doing yet another one of those glazes with the now. Oh, actually Thranduil, you don't have purple matter, do you? It's just a simple no, not Williamsburg, Winsor Newton color. That's actually another kind of a nice combo that I've started to like more. And of course, purple matter is a very inexpensive color. Now here, instead, so I was just about to go in with some red there. I'm actually taking indigo here. We're going with some indigo around the eyes, because it's not just about darkening up around the eyes, but it's also about changing the color. There's something to contrast with. Now we're probably going to come back in more with some of the lighter colors in the eye as well. Yeah, Thranduil. Now I don't know if you had a chance. Probably didn't get a chance to see some of those lizard ones, like the the chameleon skink, or the big old skinks. If you check those out, you'll see that I was trying that purple matter and Indian yellow combined. That was a neat combo. I like that. So that's something else you can give a try. Give that a try. And you just might like that too. Now we got a whole bunch of midtones here in this red, but no darks in that. That's what we're doing here. Starting to come back in with some darks. But you can see there's no layers, right? No base coat, nothing like that. Oh, and by the way, 1 hour, 12 minutes. 1 hour, 12 minutes. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I'm actually going to throw a bit more of our indigo over here onto this. I might even do that in the form of a little bit of pin line wash. See that? All I did was just threw some extra thinner on the brush and blammo. Gonna have to get some lighter colors, I do think, on the hand over here. I'm gonna maybe use the violet, radiant violet for that. Lethal shadows, I would, I couldn't tell you. I don't know, because here, with the Richardson paints, like Williamsburg, this is the actual paint on the label. Sadly, with Gamlin, right, and I'll just get, it's the typical printed stuff that has nothing, like that looks nothing like the actual Prussian blue that's in here. So that's why I couldn't tell you. You might want to go into the kind of the color info, right? If you go on Dick Blick and actually click on the paint itself, it'll give you some pigment info. It'll give you the history of the pigment. It'll discuss what's in, which pigments are in the paint. And there's been times I've made decisions based on that, where I say, well, okay, I thought it should have this, but it's probably not. Now, of course, again, this is going to be kind of a hopeless cause here. I'm pretty much going to be sticking my hands into that. So that's another reason why we're not going to be fooling around with this too much, because it's just, I'm going to be sticking my hands into it the entire time. So no point in fooling around with that, especially when I want to save that for my blood effects anyways. So Lethal Shadows, I don't know if Richardson is sold on Dick Blick or not. Grimm sent me, I think it was 5 maybe, of the Richardson oils, because he thought, oh, you just have to test these. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. But he sent them this way just so that I could test those. And we've done that a couple of times. There's people that have sent stuff here. Now, sometimes they weren't always pleased because they said, well, this doesn't really work, at least not for what we do here. There's some more light right up there. Yeah. Okay, again, trying to get a little skelly friend right there. So yeah, Lethal Shadows, that's how I found out about the Perlene Black. And I looked at the history of it, and it said that it was actually originally a printer's ink. And I was looking for something that was a really strong color, potentially a staining color. And I thought, well, if it was a printer's ink, there's a pretty good chance that was no weak color or something like that. And sure enough, the Perlene Black ended up being a very, very, very strong color. Now, what do we have going on over here? Something like that. Oh, that's right, Deuce. I know you were talking about the Seafoam Horus right there. Well, hopefully that goes according to plan for you. Let me see if I can. I just want to make sure that that is on screen for you to see. I'm going to just switch this over this way just to get a better angle of attack here. See if we can lighten up these cheekbones a little bit here. Also just smoothing out a few things. All right, that works out a little better now. Let's see. Actually, let me look. Whoops, that's not it. Someone sent me a few. Now, what are these? Michael Graham. Okay, so Lethal Shadow Landress sent me a few of these, and by a few I mean, I don't know, 2 or 3. I haven't had a chance to test those. Unfortunately, Lethal Shadow Landress went off to go pick up M-Tellies. So maybe just keep that question in mind, and then I could then you could kind of hear straight from Landrast about those, because he, I believe, is the one that sent me those. I could be wrong. It could have been Grimm as well, but I think it was Landrast that actually sent me the Michael Graham colors. There's been, unfortunately, no time to test those. Because, well, I mean, as you know, pretty much all the projects that were supposed to happen here, those everything just kind of on hold right now. Lethal Shadow, I would say they're probably, I mean, it's not like they would be bad or anything like that, but I would say go with either the Richardson or the Gamlin. Because once you start going too far down the rabbit hole of different paint brands sometimes, then you almost start chasing things, right? You almost start chasing a certain property or something like that. Or you'll have one of one color, or one brand or something like that. I try to, as much as possible, just stick with the big boys, the big 3. Now, of course, stuff like the Scale 75, bit of an exception. As we try to find a couple of lights here again on these little, again, could be blood gems. Could be. Why not? All right, now I feel like I've got a little bit of my lighter red around her face. That's a little better there. No, ooh, wow, that was almost not something I wanted to have right there. Let me see if I can go a little lighter here. Underside of that, maybe some of these other ones. Also on the lips there. Here you're starting to see the advantage of the oils, right, where I can have that really, really, really super thin line there. Where am I at here? What am I working with? Something like this here. Look where my hand is on the brush. Closer to the back of the brush than to the front of the brush. Let's see. So Lethal Shadows. There's some that I just use only the Winsor Newton. There's some that all I use is the Gamlin. And then, well, then, there's a lot of things. All I use is the Williamsburg. That's just not unusual. It was that way with watercolors. It was that way with even with my pastels. As much as I love the Senolet pastels, they were by far my favorite. There were certain things, certain very kind of specialty things that other pastels just did better than the Senolets. So let's see if we can't drop in a couple more. Yeah, here are some lights now on these horns. Don't want to do too much. We'll probably have to do a little bit of smooth down on some stuff there. Let me see if I can't take some indigo and maybe, I don't know, let's mix it with the radiant violet. It's kind of a bluish gray now. It can all just be dark right there. Let's see if I can do the same thing on that side. So in effect, trying to get a little bit of a bluish gray tone on the face here. That is going to be more of a, that'd be a bit of a temperature contrast there. I'll have to come back in with some of my lights again, but yeah, just trying to get some of the, almost a bit of a bluish color in there. Now let's see if we can go back to some lighter stuff here. No, I don't want to take away that much of the rosiness of the bottom there. Let's just come back with Egyptian violet, a little bit of the naphthol. And again, this stuff here, not even going to mess with that anymore, because all I'm going to do is just keep hitting it with my hands. So we'll just focus on other areas here until that probably some of the last stuff that we mess with. Okay, there. I feel like that's been restored. And then we'll come back to this one more time. Okay, that's more like it. Yeah, AD, well, that's, of course, that's the handy thing about multiple miniatures, right? Not working on the same army project or the same whatever, where you just go, oh, I don't even want to look at this anymore, right? That fresh perspective that you're talking about there, that's pretty darn important, wouldn't you say? Definitely. So yeah, it's got to be at least two because, well, we've been doing the Twitch stuff, well, effectively since March of 2020, right? And I know you already had the AK Interactive stuff before then. And so Drax, how did it go with the vamps, with the vampire counts? Yeah, actually, Drax, I remember. Now, Drax, did all of the Necrons have the orange weapons, the orange glowy weapons on them? Because I remember you were doing an awful lot, obviously, with the orange glowy weapons. I wasn't sure if everything had that or if it was only just select things had the orange glow specifically. It's been a little while. I could swear those were more like a 2021. No, was that actually late 2020 when you were working on the Necrons? Because I know there was a whole period of time in the summer there where there was the some of the creature caster stuff. Yeah, I thought so, Drax. Because I know I've told because a few folks asked about do stuff with acrylics and then do oils over the top, and I tried to say I know that you had been doing that. And Drax, I don't know, were you in the chat last night or the night before? I haven't gotten any alerts for Drew. At least not that I can remember. And I always I just wanted to check around. I didn't get a chance to ask Teals or anything like that if he had seen if Drew had been streaming lately or not. Just was wondering. I thought, boy, what? Haven't seen anything from Drew in a while. I mean, it's very possible I just either didn't get the alerts or something, and he might have been streaming all this time. Gonna throw in a little dark over here because that just needed to be separated there. Yeah, we need a little separate. Okay, his brother didn't say anything, probably just busy. Okay, because I know that he was doing the resin miniature holders and stuff. War grips, I think. Wasn't that what it was called? And I thought, well, maybe that really took off, and he got so busy with that, I left him with no time for streaming. Oh, I guess that's possible. All right, I'm gonna try and come back in here with maybe just some more of my lights there. So yeah, Drax, I've been super excited because I would say outside of maybe the Battle of Pelennor Field starter box that they did a couple of years ago, this latest release of Lord of the Rings might be the biggest splash that GW has done just with MESBG. So that's really that's got me really pleased because it's not just the Easterlings. They've been announcing new elf figures, Dale, dwarves, the whole shooting match. Well, looky here, and now it's everybody. Now everybody's in her. Joy of Painting Minis. Joy of Painting Minis, how the heck are you doing? And of course, everybody. Well, we're just talking about having fun painting your minis. You might want to check out Joy of Painting Minis. It's always very fun stream, really enjoyable. So Joy of Painting Minis, how the heck are you doing? We're painting this miniature from Lethal Shadows Gaming. It's an original miniature by them. They're also a 3D printing service. So if you want to get something printed, you don't have a printer, whatever, just get in touch with them and they can get you sorted out. Glowing Cloth, how you doing? Thanks for jumping in with us here. So we've been trying to, speaking of getting back into streaming, we've been trying to, I think, yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now Monday. We've been streaming a bunch of different things. Now here's another piece by Lethal Shadows Gaming. These are original sculpts here. A little bit of a different color scheme, right? We did some freehand on that, and then we added our crushed glass snow. So again, these are from Lethal Shadows right here. So Joy of Painting Minis, if you want to post a link in the chat of stuff that you've been working on, well, I'm sure people would love to see that. And Joy of Painting Minis, of course, I don't know, maybe this Thursday we're just going to have to do another landscape of Middle-earth. Despite all the other interesting things afoot here, we might just have to do another landscape. And again, thanks so much for the raid, Joy of Painting Minis. Appreciate that. Yeah, we have what were you working on your stream? Hopefully that all went really well. All right, I think we've got some more of our lights in place there now. This right here, I'm gonna maybe try and use this radiant blue a little bit more. Let me see if this works. It might be too much for underneath the eyes. Only one way to know though. Just give it a shot here. Oh, thanks, Joy of Painting Minis. Doing some more nids. Now, yeah, Joy of Painting Minis. It's so funny because I missed my Monday stream this week. Not sure if I missed my Saturday stream or not. I think I was able to stream on Saturday. No, maybe I did miss the Saturday stream. All right, we'll lighten this up a smidge here. All right, there. Okay, so now it's not just that big old blob of blue dark right there. And then, of course, well, we've been trying to get ready for that Defense of the North. We've been working on another one of our Easterling heroes here. And then this is from Kurzuk, a 3D printed piece, a little bit of Dwarven magic, a little bit of Iron Hills dwarves. Joy of Painting Minis. I'm glad that you're able to get that done and get that entered. So, wishing you the best of luck on that. And we got ourselves Lady B. Lady B, how you doing? Nice to see you again. I hope that things are going okay there. And do we need to throw any more light here? Yeah, we're gonna just make a couple of more lights here, and then the back of her hand, actually her knuckles right there, and the rest of the fingers there. Just bring that on through, like so. Lady B, it's it has been a very, very, very challenging. Well, really last 3 weeks, but last week was kind of an ultra challenge. And we're just trying to kind of get things back on the rails here after that. And we'll lighten this up too. I think we're good here. And we'll do a little bit more of those. Oh, 80 still in the chat. Okay. Now, Lady B, it's been a it's been a very different schedule with the streaming this week. Essentially every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today, they've all been late night streams like this. Just because of current circumstances, I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to stream tomorrow. Typically, we don't stream on Tuesdays anyways, and I've got a video to finish off, so we may not be streaming tomorrow unless maybe for whatever reason we can stream during the day, which I highly doubt. I thought maybe I was going to be able to do that. That hasn't quite played out. Hasn't quite worked out. Yeah, there we go. That worked out though. A little bit of light back in there. The hair might also extend the light up that way a little bit. All right, Joya Painting Minis, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. And of course, everybody please give Joya Painting Minis and Drax those follows. And you can, well, I know you can catch Drax. He's going to be usually starting to stream midnight Central Time. So we'll be sure to look tomorrow because Drax will be streaming. Going to get some more dark here. Again, it's just a Van Dyke brown, keeping that sort of simple. And just a couple little edges right here that got a little lost. There we go. I just brought those back. Just brought those back. So again, this is 3D printed. It was actually, I didn't actually have to print this one. This was actually printed by Lethal Shadows Gaming. So typically our Thursday stream, that is 2D art. And we've been focusing on our landscapes of Middle-earth. Eventually that's going to work its way into spacescapes because I love spacescapes. And it's been way too long since I've had a chance to paint one of those. And I thought it'd be really, really fun to maybe paint some of those with oil paints. So now I want to get, since I sold off all of my Landscapes of Middle-earth series, I want to try and get some of those back in my hands, although we might be selling those again. I'm just going to move my headset here. 1 second. That's better. It kind of got knocked off kilter a little bit, which is easy to do given the state of the headset these days. We'll get a little bit more definition here and some of the fun shapes. Yeah. Now I think the next Lethal Shadows miniature would probably be the kind of the mermaid figure, because we might even try to do some true metallics on that to almost kind of go with a bit of a scales sort of thing. We also have some figures from Lost Kingdoms. And of course, I can never remember what the heck the name of these creatures are. And of course, Armored Wolf has to remind me every single time. It's already been about 4 times that Armored Wolf has had to remind me. what they're actually called, but we might try those because, again, we can use the interference paints on them and do some of our nifty little metallic type stuff. So AD, I'm hoping maybe this Thursday I could still do a landscape of Middle Earth. It will just kind of depend on circumstances here, because everything was looking fantastic, and then that all just got thrown onto its head. So hopefully we can still maybe do that this Thursday, because I love those so much. They are just incredibly fun. Here, let's get into our a little bit of the, yeah, that's brown matter right there. Some more this way. Glad we ended up with trying to do the white hair too, in addition to the light skin. Now these guys up here, we're trying to figure out exactly what we want to try and do with these. Let's see if I can't get some of the lighter golds around those. That would probably be the best. That's the Radiant Lemon, by the way. And I can't make this whole thing lighter. Can't do the whole thing, but we can get a decent portion of it here. Better, yeah, working that in. I can only go so light there. Now I'm going to actually swing back the other way here. We got a little Indian yellow. It's not going to make it any lighter. It is super, super translucent. What I'm looking to do here is tint a little bit of those new lighter colors that I just tossed on there. Just looking to tint those a bit. And I think, oh gosh, it was a recent stream where we showed how the cadmium yellow deep and the Indian yellow on the palette look exactly the same. Color-wise, value-wise, all that stuff. But yet one is very opaque and the other one is very, very translucent. Now on this one, we have learned some things. So I don't know if Draxter's still around or not, but we tried this Naphthol red from Richardson here. And believe it or not, this actually had some staining properties to it. It's it. Color me surprised, color me amazed, whatever. I was not expecting that, because usually opaque reds, not so much with the staining, like at all. Pretty much not at all, but here, now again, it wasn't like it was Egyptian violet or Prussian blue or indigo or something like that. But, well, I was impressed. Now, what do I have here? I'm gonna, oh, this could be interesting. We'll mix. Oh, we also haven't used the Radiant Red before. So that's another new little combo that we're trying here. The Naphthol Red and the Radiant Red. Just mix that with a little bit of my yellow. The Radiant Yellow. If that's going to be too much, we can always tone that down again, but let's throw that. And this little skelly friend over here too. And yes, Lethal Shadows had a treasure trove of Williamsburg oil paints, no doubt. That was one heck of a treasure trove. Because I don't have anywhere near that amount of paints here. I might have maybe half of that. I don't know. Maybe there are some more, especially, well, now that I've got the scale 75s that they sent, and other folks have sent me paints to try, like the Richardsons and such. So I guess maybe we do have a little more than I thought. I'll try to do another tutorial video with the scale 75 paints as soon as I can. Probably might be more of a public access tutorial. so that they've got something that they can promote with a little bit. And also, they really, when you look at their so-called tutorials, they kind of show a much more, I don't know, I want to show folks the kind of the way we use the oils here. Now, this could probably use a couple of little darks here. Let me take this. So we got the brown matter here, and then whatever the heck else is on the brush, probably a little bit of the naphthol red too. And that, now that does help, because see, our hair separates from it. I was just looking at this, and the highlight area didn't look like a highlight at all. That's because there just wasn't enough dark built in around it. And when we're trying to do the same here, you can see where we try putting some of the red reflecting on that, because we're just going to say that as a metal piece, right? We'll just treat it that way. This is back over here. This is our lighter red mix. Let me see. Again, I said once we kind of worked our way through, we would come back to these areas where my hand just kept hitting this, right, and rubbing off some of the paint. All right, Deuce, you have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate that. I really do. And again, thanks to everybody that contributed to completing our Defense of the North little funding campaign there. And we're talking many hours of Twitch streams and tutorials, because the last batch of 6 were these our dragon acolytes here, and I think we just painted the last one in last night's stream. So we'll get plenty of streams out of that. And then of course the Dragon Emperor, that's 6 guys carrying him, plus the Dragon Emperor on a palanquin. So between the basing and the painting of that, and my guess is there's going to be just a wee bit of freehand. Also, might try some object source lighting if I can get some torches on that base. That would, wow, that's gonna have a lot of different elements to it. Freehand, object source lighting, tons of gold, non-metallic metal, I'm sure. My goodness. But of course, that didn't come cheap, and that is why we did the little fundraiser there, and that the generosity of folks in the stream made it happen. So yay, very cool. All right, that. No, I'm gonna let the blood effects do their thing. No, I don't have to paint that stuff in there, because you can't really see it anyways, so why not just let the blood effects do their work? See what happens when I try to extend some of our lights out here onto this. And then what I'll do is I'll come back with the blending brush. You can see just hammering those colors out there, right? Just really slamming those on there. We'll just grab something here that we can use as a blending brush. Whatever, don't really care. That should do it. Yep. That should do it. And here we go. We're just going to take this. We're not doing this. We're doing this. Basically straight up and down, more like a stippling effect here. And that takes some of the edge off. Like so. There you go. So Lady B, well, oh boy, I wish Dano was in the chat. Lady B, because Dano was able to find, he was able to find a lot of stuff, local things there that not necessarily bank busters or anything like that. Now Dano, well, we're just streaming at such weird times here. I'm sure Dano's gonna go, wait a minute, you were streaming at 3:17 on a Tuesday morning? So yeah, I don't think we'll be streaming tomorrow, mostly because I've got to get videos filmed and such. And I think just, well, there was another video I was going to film, but I think instead what we're going to try is a little basing video here on the new, I got 3 of these actually, 3 new rollers. I've never had this many at once, brand new ones. Like this, and I think this one especially. So we're going to give those a shot and we're going to see how those look. Okay, where did my brush go? There it is. So that's going to be another one of my Patreon videos. I love doing basing videos. I'm not sure if I may not actually have a whole lot of miniatures ready to go for that as far as just the basing goes. We'll just maybe make bases. But I might have... I have some miniatures in mind for it. They're just not printed out yet, unfortunately. I think basically the arch-villain kind of demon set of figures. That's, I don't know, maybe I can try and get some of those printed. Lady B, those rollers are just so darn amazing, aren't they? You can do so much with them. You can do so much with those things, and I was maybe going to try and see if I can combine them with some different materials, instead of necessarily just the Sculpey. Alright, we're going to lighten this up too. Then, of course, they also sent this. I don't really know what this is. I don't know if this is their version of Epoxy Sculpt. But something tells me this might be Epoxy Sculpt. I don't know. Well, we'll have to give that a try as well. Now again, not going to put the warm stuff here. We want that contrast, right? See the cooler purples versus the warmer reds there. Very, very important. So I haven't used the DAZ air dry clay. Well, I did try once. I think we'll probably stick with our Sculpey. Obviously, I was going to do terrain pieces, then, boy, I don't see any other way but doing the DAZ air dry clay. Because I remember, Lady B, last time you were in, you were talking about being able to actually get that DAZ, doing the DAZ air dry clay with the green stuff rollers. The DAZ air dry, because I like to, well, when I'm using the Sculpey version here like this, we like to be able to break it up into different pieces. Let me see if I can actually get this thing out here. So as you can see, that doing the Sculpey sheet like this, we can break it, right, and use it. Well, here, even this example, right, of this Lannister, where we used one piece of that, and we were able to just break that out of there and carve, of course, the edge of it, like so. So Lethal Shadows, all of the interference colors, the only folks I know that make those is Williamsburg. But you can get the powders. So if you check out the one video, I think I might have even sent you the link to it. It was one of the Metals Workshop videos where we took the interference powders and made our own interference oils out of them. So AD, I haven't tried Cosclay at all. AD, weren't we talking about Kamui and what she might be using, that black clay that she's using, and the what looks like the black foam? I think wasn't it you and I talking about that with Kamui? And I wonder, is that the same thing that you're talking about there? So Lethal Shadows, there's no iridescent or anything like that. That was just the Naphthol, red, just a regular paint there. Oh, you use the steampunk roller. Oh boy, Dirk Dan again. The only thing I had a chance to use the steampunk roller. Oh, can I actually grab these things? No, is it these guys? No, it wasn't these guys. It was maybe this one. No, no. I guess it was. Oh, the arcane roller. That's the one. No. Uh, oh, there we go. There's a little bit of the steampunk roller right there. And thank you so much, Jimbo. I appreciate that. Follows. This is hello, little hobbits. Like, ooh, too much blood for me. It's like, what? Jeremiah, never seen blood before? He's like, well, I was seeing my own when I got my arms ripped off by a Balrog. Yeah, that may be a little sensitive to the topic. So I'll see you later. Thank you so much for that follow, Jimbo. Appreciate that. Oh, so thanks, Dirk Dan again. So Radiant Red. Okay. Yeah, I can tell you right now, the Radiant Red, I don't know if you really even need to bother with it. It's another one of those kind of redundant ones. So thanks, Dirk Dan again. So yeah, the Radiant series, I would check the color theory and oils videos because we had one of those about the Radiant colors. I'm just going to look to see if I can find, here we go. So yeah, let me see if I can pull this out of here. So this is one where we're using all the different radiants right here. That's another one of those color theory and oils. So check out one of those. Exploring Radiance, I think is what it was called. So yeah, Lethal Shadows, just the radiant colors like the Radiant Violet, the Radiant Green, the Radiant Blue, Radiant Turquoise, Radiant Lemon. And those are all Gamlen colors. But I think you can save yourself some scratch and you don't have to really bother with the Radiant Red. Doesn't really do all that much that's different. You could pretty much, I think, at that point, just take your probably the Fanchon Red and mix it with Brilliant Yellow Pale and get something that does a very similar thing. Not just the color itself, but the property of it too. Probably do the same exact thing. Thanks, Bithron, for doing that clip. Appreciate it. Lethal Shadow, there's also a Radiant White, which I haven't used yet. Again, all of our schedule got definitely scratched for the foreseeable future until things kind of get back to normal again. Well, well, I think the normal is the snafu. That's our kind of normal. So Dan again, it's kind of funny because the Radiant Green, the old starter set. Boy, can I even dig that out of here? Let me see. Let me see if I can find it here. I think this is it. No, but it was the old green from the starter set. I wonder if that's over in here somewhere. Nope, can't find it, unfortunately. But we tried to get that. That's what this was all about. Remember the experiment with the Holbein colors? And they just weren't super. These are not cheap paints, well, especially here in the US because they come from Japan. And it's not like these are bad paints. Now, maybe, I don't know. Actually, just, it's been so long since I've even, wow. Never mind, we can't get that one open, so we're not going to use it. We won't be using that because I could not get that paint container open. But remember, we asked Stila, it's like, Stila, you've been using those because, well, being from Japan and all. And I said, have you noticed that they're kind of on the slimy side and very glossy in comparison to some of the other stuff? And once she had enough of her other colors to compare it to, she says, yeah, they're kind of on the slimy side. So Lethal Shadows, I've definitely used the magenta several times, and that's worked well. The red just seems to be a little bit on the redundant side. It's really hard to tell if it's all that different. I haven't done any kind of official color swatches with it yet. We may still try to do that. That'll be for sure one of our color theory vids. In fact, we might have to do a color theory where we take the radiance and maybe combine those with the scale 75 paints. Now, Bithron, hopefully your work schedule, obviously, like you were saying, not going to let you do a whole lot of painting because you're, well, even if you had the time, you would be pretty darn tired, wouldn't you? Yeah, Lethal Shadows, it kind of goes back to the AK interactive stuff. Those, what the heck are they called? Not the oil, but the oil brushes are okay. We were okay with those. Oh, the Optilung paints, that's it. Yeah, it's really hard to describe, but essentially, they probably put way too much linseed oil in them. Either that or too much safflower oil, because they wanted to artificially make them seem smoother and thinner, more like miniature paint. And basically they stayed wet forever. They were super shiny, and there was no adhesion whatsoever. None at all. Bithron, that's going to be quite the, that's going to be a yo-yo right there. Sorry, I know you're not going to, you won't be enjoying that a whole bunch, I know. But hopefully you can kind of work through that and then be able to, well, enjoy the hobby time that you get out of it. As we lighten this up just a smidge more here. Thanks, Lethal Shadows, and I'm telling you, once you see it with the blood effects, that's going to be a whole different ball game right there, because it's going to add this semi-translucent layer. In some ways, it's a little bit like the snow effect, where it's just sort of semi-translucent. Now let me see if I can grab this guy here. I don't know if it really shows up as much here. So you can see that on the snow right there, and then over here too, we've got some of the blood effects here, and there you can really kind of see some around in here, and you can see we've got the kind of the coagulated effect going there. So it really does add a little extra, a little layer of texture to it. Otherwise, it's not always there. And again, this is a not just a 3D print printed by Lethal Shadows. It's also an original sculpt. So everybody, please check out Lethal Shadows for your printing needs. It is not easy to find reliable printers that have a high degree of quality control. It's not always easy. But what I'm gonna do here, I just want to see. Actually, now does anybody have anybody who is actually painting? Because I just looked, and I think between Drax and Joya Painting Minis, all of the painters that I follow, they done rated us. So, because it's 3:31 here, and that 3 hours of sleep last night, and coupled with the even less the several nights before. If somebody knows of somebody who's a miniature painter who's streaming right now, that would be good. Yep, AD, I've got to let that... now, of course, this might take a little longer, right? Because we were using the naphthol red, which, because they put so much more linseed oil in there, it might take longer to dry. It's one of the reasons why I'm putting the radiant colors in there, because the radiants do tend to minimize that effect. So it's the one the one challenging thing about the oils is that you want to do something like that, or the snow effect, right? Where we wanted to do the snow on the other lethal shadows. I had to let that cure before I could put the crushed glass snow onto that. But it is what it is, right? So yeah, if anybody knows of a miniature painter who happens to be streaming right now, you can pop that into the chat and we'll try and head on over there. Because I'm looking, something told me when first Drax and then Joya Painting Minis were kind enough to, oh, Alan Barbeau, okay. Ah, Speckus Spud. Geez, have we ever rated Speckus Spud, Bitron? Holy smokes. Good grief, I thought I was already following Speckus Spud, but we've never rated Spec, so, we've certainly had Spec many times here in the chat, so yeah, we're going to do that. Let me just get that typed in so I can just get this going here. So thanks, Bitron. Wow, that's that would be really cool. Never had a chance to raid Spec. So there we go. Okay, so is he painting? Looks like he's assembling. But we'll surprise him. We'll surprise Speckus Spud. So again, this figure right here from Lethal Shadows. Lethal Shadows been in the chat, of course, answering all questions about the service that they offer. I also want to thank everybody, especially I'm Not Him, for finishing this. So all the folks that contributed to the Defense of the North Fund, we are just so grateful for that, because I was thinking, how in the world are we going to get those all of a sudden? Because the plan was we had the stuff in place to get them, and then hilarity ensued. Thanks, Kabowski, appreciate that. So, oh, before we go, watch these three areas, this, and this. Very important. As we do one final film noir here before we head out, look at this. Now, the values look almost exactly the same, right? I mean, it's almost like there is no difference even in the shading. And then we come back with our color one more time. Look at this. Warm, intense color. This is cooler, a little bit more, a little less intense. And then this, of course, back to our warmer, more intense color. So we discovered something here that potentially the Richardson Naphthol Red has some staining properties to it, which is shocking. I mean, wow. Wasn't expecting that at all. And thanks for